Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining the Cyber Posture Fireside Chat. Today, we'll be diving into a very important topic of cybersecurity, that is attack surface management, and why it is critical in today's interconnected world. To put it simply, cybersecurity is the practice of protecting systems, networks, and data from digital attacks. In the increasing digital age, data breaches, ransomware, and phishing attacks can cause immense damage, not just financially, but also in terms of reputation. The importance of cybersecurity is growing because as technology advances, so does the sophistication of cyber attacks. The goal isn't just prevention, but also quick detection and response. Good cybersecurity ensures trust, continuity, and ability to innovate securely. Now let's move on to our topic for today, that is attack surface management or ASM. The attack surface of an organization includes all points where an unauthorized user could try to enter data or extract data from your organization. Think of it as your digital footprint, a digital touch point that could be exploited by attackers. Managing this attack surface is critical because if you don't know where you're vulnerable, how are you going to protect it? ASM allows organizations to continuously monitor, identify, and reduce their risk exposure by keeping track of all these attack points. Here at Xeron, one of our core elements of our cyber risk posture management platform is attack surface management. We understand that managing risk isn't just about closing vulnerabilities, but also being aware of where the risk actually lies. Our platform is designed to give organizations a comprehensive view of their cyber posture and the exposure they have to all these risks, which will help them in understanding and controlling their attack surface better. Most of you, I guess, here are aware that Xeron is not just a cyber risk posture management platform, but also a cyber risk quantification tool. So let's see how attack surface impacts cyber risk quantification. I would say it directly impacts, and the larger and more complex your attack surface is, the greater is your potential exposure to cyber threats. ASM provides visibility into these vulnerabilities, which is essential for accurate risk quantification. With tools like Xeron's CVaR model, which is Asia's first cyber risk quantification model, businesses can assign a tangible financial value to their risk, allowing them to prioritize actions and allocate resources effectively. Let's now get into our panel for today. I have with me Abhijit, Ragul, and Ois from our research and development wing here at Xeron, who are into bringing the best insights for attack surface to ensure your organization is safe. Hi guys, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, Srishti. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Let's not waste further time and let's move on to our first question. Ragul, if you could take this up. What external threats have you identified as the most critical for your organization, and how does this threats expose or expand your attack surface?
Okay, that's an interesting question, I think, which everyone likes to hear of the answer about, right? So first, let me break down the question into two. First is like what external threats that I've seen across multiple organizations, right? And then we'll come to how these are going to, impact organization, or how the ASM, by having these kinds of data or attacks, is going to, put more value to the organization, right? So coming to the first question, what is the most seen or critical, attack, external threat? I would say it's phishing and social engineering, according to me. And also, if you just go to Google and just type your critical external threats, the first that is going to throw up is your phishing and social engineering, right? So, these two things are basically, which kind of gives that human element, or it takes out the human element, right? So what phishing is basically, you're impersonating someone's identity And let's say I go to Abhijit and say, "Hey, Abhijit, so we are from so and so, organization, and we need these kinds of data from you, which will in return, give you this much of amount, or this is the perks you get by giving those informations to me, right?" So this basically is pulling the human element, and which is considered as one of the least weight element in the cybersecurity cycle, right? So that's the reason, and there are like a bunch of facts that I was reading recently from CrowdStrike reports and Gartner reports, where I found that there are almost 30 billion phishing attacks are being happening each and every day. Every single day, 30 billion phishing attacks are happening. And then one more interesting thing is there are almost 100 millions of phishing emails that have been blocked in Google by Google, right? So that's a huge lot of data. So that's kind of going to help an organization to know what to not let inside their systems or servers, right? Because the moment we don't, or I think there's a time, even many people used to say, there's a time for us to, enforce security systems, defensive security systems, right? More than offensive, defensive security is going to save your entire organization. So putting more defensive securities is going to secure your entire organization, which in turn will not lead these kind of attackers to take out your data and spend like uh, billions and billions on that. Right. So that's the more of a gist I would like to give on the question that you asked. And if I'm really happy to hear it from Ovis and Abhijit if they have some more points to put in together.
You put it perfectly, I think. Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
every yeah, every single like cyber attack or cyber threat always starts with like a human or social component. It's like that's the part that people skip out on. Right? It's like our brains aren't computers, so we don't think about it, and then that's where the vector is. That's where it starts from. So like until recently, you might have noticed how authentication wasn't so good. So you had a password, but then the follow up to that was something like security questions. What year were you born in? What is your maiden name? If anyone knows that, then that whole thing becomes useless. Right? So, fortunately, that's like improving now. We have OTPs and all that. Yeah, remission agreement.
And also, I like
Yeah.
to add one point. As external, we are talking about external threats and ESM. So many times, like your attack surface has some critical assets exposed, and even though these things are very easy to spot out by hackers, they actually cause a huge damage to your organization. So it's also really important to stay focused on these little things, which can cause a huge loss. And these are actually over the past few years have been contributing into uh, what large attacks we have been seeing. Uh,
And I think last thing that I would like to add up to this is Srishti, and the recent advancement, right, in the space of LLMs and AIs. So this social element is very easy to be replaced, right? If always knows to prompt a LLM properly and create a virtual companion which can actually talk to you like a person and get all your details, that's like that's it. It's kaboom. The moments are gone, right? So it's that's what I would suggest. It's more for an organization to concentrate on their attack surface, and also with that they'll also should concentrate more on defensive security.
Interesting. Uh, Following to the list of all the threats which you've mentioned, how often do you reassess these threats? Like, is it a part of your security strategy, or how do you essentially plan ahead?
Yeah. So one thing I would say is this is going to be a lot, lot of learning for people, right? Because they should know what exactly or what exact attack is going on with their organization. So first, they'll have to identify those things. So if I was there, or if any one of us here are there, it's basically the prioritization of the attacks. Each organization has its own attacks to be, delivered by these attackers, right? So one is prioritization, and then as we have, already a lot of, strategies that are out for mitigating and remediating such attacks, right? So we can choose the best out of which fits the organization.
Interesting. Uh, I'd just like to mention to our audience here, any questions, feel free to drop a comment. We will take it up after we are done with the discussion, and we can answer one by one. So let's move ahead to our next question. OS, what
Yeah.
exactly is attack surface management for your organization, and how does it integrate with your broader cybersecurity effort, if I have to put it like that?
So like uh, attack surface, like it's a very broad topic, but then it has like parts within it. So in general, if you ask me what attack surface is, it can be any point of entry where like uh, an attacker can gain entry into your system from. That's an attack surface. Now, depending on who you ask, they'll give you different answers. If you ask someone that works closer to networks, they'll tell you, oh, it's an exposed port on your network or something like that. If you ask someone who works on cloud services, they'll tell you, look, there's a password field, but like it takes any password, and you have broken authentication. So attack surface is like super wide. It's an already wide part of an even wider sort of cyber landscape, cyber posture. So that's what I would say about attack surface and attack surface in any org actually, most orgs, not just particular.
Okay. And how does it integrate essentially with your cybersecurity effort?
When you say effort, uh, do you explain what you mean by effort?
So when we say cybersecurity effort, in the sense, if an organization is managing their cyber risk posture, how critical ASM would be, and can you put in some light there, essentially?
Oh, right. Posture, like it's a very wide thing, right? Anything that can cause financial loss and things like that can be included in that. So attack surface is definitely a key component within that, but it's not the only component. It's quite important actually. Yeah.
Okay. So this is something which I'll open up for all three of you. Are there any specific tools or strategies you suggest that you have adopted that have proven effective in reducing your exposure?
Uh, I think again that puts up to the same way how O is asked, right? What are those efforts? So it's not about the tools. It's about how you use these tools effectively, right? An organization can have like almost 10 to 20 tools with them, but at last they'll end up using nothing, or they might have not connected those tools properly, which again leads to a phishing attack or a social engineering attack or a DDoS or a 0 day. So anything it can be, right? So we can't exactly put what tools to use, because again it gives a wrong example to the audience who are watching, right? I might be sitting and promoting a different tool, always might be sitting and promoting a different tool, which I don't want that to happen. So instead of tools, I would say it's more of concepts that people have to be clear of. So if you ask me, your ASM, your attack surface, and your threat intel goes hand in hand. So the amount of data that you collect on attack surface, you can enrich it with your threat intel and actually delve into more data that you get. So if it's more of a concept, yes, that is going to kind of give people edging advantage for their organization to implement such things. Yeah, that's right. The conclusion is mine is going to be your ASM and your threat intels and a bunch of other your SIMs, EDRs, and XDRs. That's these are like fundamental things that an organization should have.
Interesting. I think we have a question. Risk quantification is unique to every organization. How does Zeron help to get the clients, primarily for the BFSI, to keep up with their risk quantification and remediation along with ever changing risk landscape?
Then kind of put that up to BFSI. Keep up with there. Uh, anyone likes to answer this? I mean, Abhi or OS?
Not too familiar.
Yeah. But just to put it in a
So,
simpler term, right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we go ahead, go ahead.
So, as the first point is mentioned, risk quantification is actually unique to every organization. What Xeron does is it provides you the cyber risk value, the cyber value at risk to your specific organization's portfolio. So, we basically analyze what your exposure is, your what business profile is, and then specific to you using our internal system to find out the risk quantification we provide with the value with it. So it's actually really specific to each and every organization, what industry are they playing in, and how exactly their threat is exposed on the internet.
I hope it answers the question.
Yeah,
And
like to add up to Abhijit, right? As I said, like there are different parameters which we take up. Let be any company who does a risk quantification, right? Without parameters, it's nothing but a junk box that they are having in their organization, right? So it's as I said, in your industry, your location, and your vendors, all these things matters a lot. And then coming up, how we do this, it's a kind of USP that we hold. We can't explicitly, put it in front of everyone, like how we do, but the overall view is given by Abhijit, actually. That's pretty good.
let's move ahead. Uh, Following to that, what steps can an organization take to continuously monitor and like Ragul said, it's more on strategy rather than tools. How do you think they can measure these efforts, and how can they essentially monitor?
So, like basically, right now we are at an interesting point of technological revolution. Each and every day, many things are happening at a fast pace. Industries are evolving at a insane speed, and every organization is adding up to n number of assets. And it's really important if you want to have your attack surface well managed. You need to continuously monitor it. So there are various approaches to it. We have automated at asset discovery and other forms of strategies which ensure that your attack surface is monitored 24 by 7. New assets are discovered, the current assets are undergone with vulnerability analysis if you have any risk, and how overall your cyber value is at risk associated with it. And for effectiveness, as we are doing this much efforts to determine your assets and the vulnerabilities, it is important that these are getting responded in a proper time. These are getting addressed. So there are often various KPIs such as you have MTTD and MTTR. So mean time to detect and mean time to respond. So these are actually crucial KPIs which you can use to measure the effectiveness of these efforts. So it's really important if you define a parameter of how exactly your attack surface is expanding on the internet facing side. So this will help.
Interesting. And I feel that is the reason in our Xeron's ASM module, our overview dashboard essentially talks about all these KPIs. And now it makes sense. Just a follow up to that, what challenges do you face uh, to make sure we are up to date? And because cyber attacks are evolving at a very greater speed, right?
So one thing, like as per my experience, the initial challenges we faced was if you have a big org which is having large number of assets. So initially, the onboarding this all assets into the ASM and monitoring them is crucial, like is little hectic. But we address these challenges with a unique approach which Xeron has, and also like sometimes the risk or the challenges which we as a company face is that often we can monitor the company listed assets, but there is a concept called shadow IT. So often, due to negligence, employees leak crucial data to the business outside in the web. So this is actually a challenge for any ASM to monitor the shadow IT assets and to like actually extend your parameter from the organization standpoint to the external assets which the employees are using and exposing, and this is eventually affecting our cyber value at risk, the organization's cyber value at risk.
Precisely. Uh, so now, since you're talking about shadowed assets and all those important KPIs for attack surface, how do you view the connection between well-managed attack surface and reducing your organization's cyber value at risk?
So it's an interesting. Okay, Ragul, will you like to answer?
No, so it was a very interesting question. So you'd like to start? I'll add up to it, or you want me to start and you'll add up to it, however you want.
Sure, I'll start. so. Uh,
Great.
a well-managed attack surface and cyber value at risk really has an interesting connection. If you have a well-managed attack surface, okay, so your cyber value at risk automatically lowers down. What does your well-managed attack surface means? That you are keeping all the tracks of your exposed asset and reducing the number of vulnerabilities. Okay, so this in fact also lowers down the cyber value at risk you have. So Ragul, you want to add anything to this?
Yeah. So as you said, right, when we say a well managed attack surface, what do we mean? That's the basic question of people right now. Or I think there'll be a follow-up question from the audience, obviously, regarding this. So what is well management is basically keeping timely updates, right, of your attack surface, keeping your scannings in a regular basis. So today 6 a.m. I do the scanning, and again today 6 p.m. I do the scanning. So those regular intervals should be there. Managing your patches, right? So it's a big concept right now, patch management. If everyone gets it, or what exactly is patch management, we could have actually mitigated the incident that happened a month ago with one of the large folks in security domains, right? So that patch management is one more important thing for companies or for a well-managed attack surface to be handled. So to put it in an example, right? Let's say tomorrow a bank comes to me and says that, see, we want to use your attack surface management. So what do we get? Right? When they ask us pitch blank, your tech can be good, your coding skills can be good, your platform's architecture is awesome. That doesn't matter, right? So the end goal is what do I get or what do you get? So that's where we put all these points. Like we give you regular scans, which reduces your likelihood of the vulnerabilities, right? So which decreases. And if you take attack surface or a CVaR, right? That's your cyber value at risk. It's nothing but the number of incidents you get, or the decrease in number of incidents, or increase in number of incidents, right? So it's how do you do that is by keeping a timely check on the entire ASM process that you want to implement on a company. And this actually answers the previous question that you asked. What tool should I use? So again, what I would like to stress is it's not about the tools. It's about the way you engineer it, or the way you put all these things together.
Can you share an example where mitigating attack surface vulnerabilities has lowered your CVaR, cyber value at
Uh,
risk?
uh, yeah, so for most part, I have not touched that horizon, but I think Ovis was more closely working with that, and he would be very, well to elaborate this answer. He would have a very good example.
Right. So you said about patching vulnerabilities and how it affects like CVAR and stuff. Uh, let's see, right? Like, so CVAR is like cyber value at risk. The keyword here is value, right? So when you say that word, it means money, finances, and all. So, of course, patching vulnerabilities is a small part of it. Uh, it can mean anything. Anything can put your value as a company at risk. But if you patch vulnerabilities and things like that, you eliminate the technical risks of this CVAR problem. Uh, you know, most engineers and devs and stuff, they are the ones that are like the, they make these things, they make these services, these products that a lot of organizations use. So I'd say, yeah, it's arguably like one of the most important things. It's in fact one of the first things you think of if you go to protect or analyze your CV. So more generic sense.
Okay, I think we have a question from our audience. There should be a facility which allows the SOC team to configure new parameters or tolerance for specific parameters to consider as risk or category of risk manually through AI ML automated labeling. Is it something that Xenon provides now, or do we
Uh,
have it in our plan in the research and development?
yeah, so just to answer that, because me and Abhijit, with the C folks in our organization, we are working closely on that, right? And also you would know this better. Again, I don't know whoever is the LinkedIn user, but he is like, I think he's going to fry us today, man. Uh, Yeah. So yes, configuring parameters. Yes, it's one of the important thing which we should provide to the users, because we might have identified 10, but tomorrow Abhijit or Oz or Srishti, you guys will come and tell me, see, these are not the only 10. We have found few more, right? How do we do this? And if I'm going to inform an organization and they are going to do a POC, validations, put it through it, and bring it out, that's going to take a lot of time. So, is there a provision to do this? Yes, we have a provision to do this, but not right now. As you said, it's in our roadmap, right? We are building it. And as the emergence of AI has been seen in the last 3 years, we, Xeron, also solely getting inside that AI realm, and we are trying all the possibilities that we can use to make the user's life very simple. And and also one more thing which we should always keep in mind is all your automated labeling or AI ML. It's something that has an high error rate, right? It's when you compare it with a human's intelligence, those has high error rate. So since and also I think Asia, I would say, or mainly India, is more getting into cyber risk posture management, right? They are now getting into it, and they should initially get those, the basics of what exactly are those parameters, how this affects this, and all this. So it's more of an experimental thing. Yes, we would love to provide such things to the users. It's in our roadmap, and it's a great idea, by the way. Yeah.
What do you think about Zen, which is our Xeron's AI model, which we have built up? How do you think it will help here?
I think the man of the hour, Abhijit, should answer that because he's the one who's closely working with Zin. Uh,
So like Zen actually works on various aspects currently, and right now we cannot give the exact information which is required because it's still in, we are building it right now. So that's it.
yeah,
Like yeah,
but
actually
like
trying to
to
include all these parameters. Like there's a thing like there are no rogue parameters which you will later add on, and that needs to be integrated with this. There are certain classifications and categories which need to be predefined. So if you have anything such in future, if a stock team decides to add this, you can just push it into that category, and this then will do its magic.
So to
yeah,
ease your
so
effort, I guess. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yes,
I
sorry.
mean, like there is a lot of changes that is with the previous Zen and the Zen that is coming out. I mean, like our team is working a lot on that perspective, and they're trying to get it out in a very good way, right? So one thing what I would say is it's going to kind of be a companion to the users. So Xeron users are going to love this because it's going to be Xeron companion for them, right? They can ask anything and everything they need, and Zen is ready to answer it. And Zen, it's more like ans it's not an answer, right? It's going to connect with those people very well. And even I'm eagerly waiting to see it and hear it from our users how they actually feel about it.
That's nice. We will definitely wait. I think even the users are waiting for the revamped or enhanced Zen coming in. Let's move on to the last question for the day. In what ways has the growing adoption of third party vendor and cloud services expanded your attack surface? And how do you address these complexities?
Okay.
I'd like to take
So
this one.
yeah, sure.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Yeah,
No, no.
OS, you
No,
can
no,
take that.
always it's always it's you. You should.
It's your thing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So you said cloud services and all that. Uh, as you would know, right? It just keeps increasing. Uh, there's so many new cloud services and products that come out every day. Uh, for example, we would think of GitHub, right? That's something that has been around for a while. But then you have something that just came out recently, like ChatGPT and stuff. I feel like its APIs and all that can be considered as a point of exploitation now that we wouldn't have considered before. You can pick something like Replit and these coding platforms. It just keeps increasing. So yeah, it's quite a difficult problem to tackle. Whatever service you use or whatever product you use to manage this part of your cyber security posture or whatever, it's a never-ending process. Whatever you use, they'll keep adding more and more services and components that they can detect, and it's sort of like a dragon chasing its own tail sort of problem.
Right. I think that is the reason our vendor risk management platform also has a digital risk monitoring section where we do provide attack surface insights of the vendors to the organization. Interesting. I have one question from the audience here. Holistic reports. Since Zeron is a post management platform, the question comes from the USP of Zeron, which is holistic reports. Let's say I do not want to see all report, or I want to monitor certain report I want to create for my own organization. Are we planning to give this facility to CISOs? So I would like to, before you guys take it up, being here representing the product, let me give a little bit glimpse here on what is the plan of
And
action for
Zob,
reporting.
sorry to stop you in between. Can we know who's that LinkedIn user actually? I mean, I think we should hire him, basically. He's kind of giving us a lot of ideas.
No, that's definitely the case. Just to make sure that whoever is asking this has already been picked up. We do have reporting module coming in. We have user persona based reporting for CISO, security analysts, security managers, and even the extreme end user is actually going to work on it. Different levels of reports with different granularities based on the use case. And let's say a CISO has its own custom requirement of creating a report. In the coming phases of new cyber risk navigator, which will come in, you'll have this facility where you can essentially create your own dashboards, reports, and play with the platform the way you want. But this is from more of a product point of view. If I have to put it at an organizational level, how will attack surface KPIs impact? Like Ragul, Lewis, Abhijit, if you can help this CISO understand better.
Okay. Uh, I know, I think you have been working with us very closely for almost 2 to 3 months, right? And you have seen the way we progress on these kind of things. The reason we want to do this is, yes, there might be a lot of, CRQ providers, there might be a lot of ASM providers, there might be a lot of business posture providers, right? But what do we stand out from them, or what exactly that we do different is basically the amount of understanding that we give to people, or the amount of understanding that we want to give to people. And that's why we work a lot, right? So in that aspects, yes, reports are one major thing that everyone needs, right? I can't go to a CISO and show him, see, a small JSON file and go search for a severity in that and show him, see, just the severe vulnerability that we have. He's going to just fold the paper and throw it on us, right? And even if he's a tech guy, let's say Abhijit, if I keep on going to him with a JSON file, he's going to rant me out. He's going to, he's going to kill me. So at some point, everyone requires a report. And as we are doing, as we are concentrating more, yes, we are working on having customized reports. So for example, I think you know it better, Shristi, the CV reports that we generated and the dashboard reports that we are trying to generate, and the amount of editability that we are giving to the users, we are planning to give to the users, right? That's going to help them a lot. And from an engineering standpoint, uh, these are, I would not say it's an easy thing to do, but it's doable, right? And we should do if we want to stand out in this entire market and if we want to, be the cherry on top of whatever. So that's my point, and we are working towards. And whoever is the LinkedIn user, dude, I don't know if I think you have used your own platform, so you just keep track of it. In next, 3 months, right, it's going to change a lot. And we'll be having a same fireside like this, and I want the same guy to come and ask us more questions.
Just Ragul, to add up to a little bit more clarity, can we highlight on the CV reports which we just spoke about? Maybe our audience will get a view on how are we planning this.
Yeah, so that's so interesting, right? So, as an organization, you will get a lot of vulnerabilities, right? And when you use Xeron, we have a separate section called vulnerabilities, which lists your organization level vulnerabilities. So, what can I do with vulnerabilities? It's just a bunch of CVs that I see, and some severity scores that I give. But what more can I do, right? So, as you say, your SOC or your internal security team of a particular organization, if they want to act upon those CVEs, they need more information. They want more information apart from your CV, your title, and then your severity. Right? So that's where what we did is, again, going to the AI horizon, we have built up a small model that is able to understand your MITRE attack techniques, your MITRE strategies, and also we have since we have this pulling this vulnerability capability. I think Ovis here has created in-house, repository of a large vulnerability, a large number of vulnerability from which we pull our data, and it's like a periodic updates that we're giving, right? So we go search for the vulnerability, we take the details, we use a bit of our brains, LLMs, and all together. We give you a report which will say what is the vulnerability, how it has affected the organizations before, and how it could affect your organization now, and then your MITRE attack techniques. And with that, it gives you associated SDOs, right, and sticks. So it's a sticks bundle which has almost all your attached SDOs to it. When I say SDO, it might be your malware, intrusion set, location, threat actor, etc., etc. Whatever those 14, 16 SDOs are there, right? So this, in a way, when I'm an internal security team or a SOC guy, I can just take up the report and see, okay, fine, this is how I'm going to mitigate this vulnerability. This is how I can remediate the vulnerabilities, right? So that's one good thing about this report. And again, as one more thought which Srushti put up was when we gave this report, she was like, "Hey, why don't you give an executive summary, man, which we can just show it to the business, not only to the tech guys. Why not business?" Then Abhijit worked on it, and he kind of brought up this entire, executive summary, which we can actually show it to the business people. Hey, see, this is what you have, and they understand it, right? So that's one good thing about it. And there are more things planned on top of that. Hope that will help everyone. So this is about the CV reports that we are building.
Great. I think we had a really good session today. Thank you, OS. Thank you, Ragul. Thank you, Abhijit. And thank you, everyone else, for joining today. Remember, cybersecurity is not a one-time fix. It's an ongoing process. With tools like attack surface management and cyber risk quantification, we can not only protect but also strategically manage cyber risk to make more informed decisions. I hope you all are curious to see more and essentially understand how it works. I'll suggest visit our website www.zaran.one and stay tuned to our social handles. You can visit our website and schedule a personalized demo to get to know this better. Thank you. See you in the next fireside chat.